Hi. So, if you haven't lived under a rock and you're a Pokemon fan, then you understand that Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were announced. Was that Wednesday or?
Yeah,
what
Wednesday.
day was that?
Yeah, Wednesday.
I'm looking at my messages.
The most.
Pretty sure.
Because that was my last day of school. I remember I was sitting in Park City. I remember.
Yep. So, which is obviously a Gen 3 remakes, and so, as you probably guessed, we're going to give our opinions of what we think about this.
Let's start with, what was your initial reaction, Sam? Like, right away, what was the first thing you thought?
It caught me off guard just because it was really out of nowhere. Like, I didn't really... I'm still not yet really, like... I mean, as there would be more, stuff shown and revealed, like, I know this Sunday there's going to be some possible gameplay of the games on a Japanese game show that they're going to show this Sunday, so it's probably going to be recorded or something, you can see it by then. But, like, at first, it just caught me off guard, and, yeah, it was kind of weird. I'm glad they didn't show gameplay right away, and you can increase your interest for it, but, I mean, yeah, just to begin with, I wasn't expecting it at all.
I was actually in the middle of work when these guys texted me about... And I never played Ruby and Sapphire mainly because I didn't have a device capable of playing Ruby and Sapphire. Nor did I really kind of care at the time, and now I do. So when they texted me about this, I was like, fuck yes! Right in the middle of work. Luckily, there's no one in the store.
It's okay, nobody's ever in your store.
Yeah, I know.
I nearly shit my pants just from this. Ruby and Sapphire might be, next to Gen 1, probably my favorite generation. At least in my eyes, Gen 3 is like the peak of when Pokemon was at its best. So, these games coming out was like, this announcement, because after a while,
I know these games are gay.
Yeah, right?
Coming out.
Wow, I just got that.
I didn't really realize that either.
But like, I was almost completely convinced that these games weren't ever going to come out. I don't know. I'd almost convinced myself that they're not going to remake the 3rd gen. But then when it got announced, I was really, really happy. So, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know what to say. I just got done my very last day of school ever. And I was sitting at our local mall to pick up the new Epica album, and I was like, yeah, I'll just get on the internet really quick. And I saw that Nintendo announced this, and I sent the link to these guys. I didn't even know what to say. Like, I couldn't even type anything. I was so fucking excited.
It was a bunch of gibberish like
Yes.
It
was.
Yeah, I agree with Sam. It did catch me off guard. I didn't see it coming, but this was like one of the only things I really wanted from Nintendo is to remake Ruby and Sapphire, because they're some of I've had some of my most fun memories with Pokemon in these games. And so I just really want them to remake it, and it's finally happening. And I just couldn't believe that it was happening this soon. I was thinking a new Pokemon game 2015 at the earliest. It's November 2014 that this launching worldwide.
So I figured they'd put a game out, because at least lately they've been kind of like on like a yearly thing where some kind of major handheld Pokemon titles are coming out.
It's also kind of cool if you think about it, how like at least with music with us, like it seems like everything leaks nowadays, and it really caught me off guard how like nothing leaked about it.
Yeah,
it was kind of cool. It's like surprising for once nothing like was released early.
I was definitely thinking about it because it kind of makes sense, because if you look at how the past remakes are done, which is they remade the 1st generation back when the original Ruby and Sapphire and everyone were coming out.
Fire Red and
they did Fire Red and Leaf Green because that was kind of because you couldn't go back and get Pokemon from those games anymore. And at least from Fire Red, you could get all the Pokemon that kind of mattered from the first 2 gens. You could get all the legendary, all the legendaries you could get in either game and whatnot. And then they did, Heart Gold and Soul Silver with 4th gen. And at that point, you couldn't play regular Game Boy games anymore on the current generation of handheld, so that made sense. And so when you think about it that way, it made sense that they waited till now to make Ruby and Sapphire, because now you can't play Game Boy Advance games on the 3DS. So now, boom, now you can play those. And then, because at least initially I got really sad because especially after hearing Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out, I'd gotten rid of my DS by that point. And I was like, okay, well then when the 5th gen they'll remake Ruby and Sapphire, and then I'll be really happy and I'll get that. And the 5th gen came around and that never happened. They never remade it. And I was like, that was why, like I said earlier, I was kind of expecting it to never happen, because I thought they were going to do every generation, they were going to remake a past generation.
And they were talking about this for a while. They were saying how Ruby and Sapphire is really important to them, but they just did not do it at all.
Yeah, it's just weird.
But see, we didn't expect this to happen. And
Just
Keith and I don't expect the Majora's Mask remake to happen, but since this happened, Majora's Mask confirmed.
Yeah, Half-Life
and Half-Life 3.
Half-Life 3.
I think it was mainly just because they knew that the 3DS was coming out, and they didn't want to like put it out for like 5th generation, where it was like the end of DS. So
Because
they
it's
had
like
to wait a little bit longer.
with the whole thing with the DS, it's like at that point with the DS, because I mean the DSi, I never had it. I don't know if they changed it that much, but you could still just insert a Game Boy Advance cartridge in it, and you could play 3rd gen. Like, what's the point of remaking it? People probably still owned their 3rd gen. Whereas when the 3DS comes out, probably a lot of people are like, well, I can't play these games now.
And plus, Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out in like 2010, and the 3DS launched in 2011, so it's kind of the point in remaking it there. So there's not a whole lot of details known about this game other than that it is a remake, but everyone's assuming that it will have the 3D graphics that X and Y has, and that'll be remade that way, and that hopefully it has and it expands on all the online features that X and Y has. So I guess we'll start, Sam. What do you want out of this book?
Sorry.
I think there are like 3 areas of things that I'm looking for in this game. First, the Pokemon themselves. I know there has to be like Mega Evolutions, because I mean you look at every game that's come out, you know, in certain generations, where it'll be like the new games come out, and then if there has been a remake, the new components and elements and areas of the new games they translate and they're reoccurrent in the remakes. So I know definitely they can't like go back on Mega Evolutions now. At least with the Mega Evolution of Blaziken, you really have to consider it's a good possibility that there will be for Sceptile and Swampert. Maybe that would be a reasonable assumption. I read this article that Tyler sent me. What was it from, like Game Informer or Game Insider?
Game
Informer. This like idiot wrote this article, and basically a lot of what he talked about was like if there were like looking at the cover art for the new games, it's cover art. Of course, it's art. And the guy said that there were going to be Mega Evolutions of Groudon and Kyogre.
And also, that might not be the final art. That's what it says on the box that they released. It said
this could be
yeah,
changed.
but still, I mean, that's what the guy got from that. And I think obviously when you look at it, it's just art. They're the same Pokemon. They're not Mega Evolutions.
And I don't remember the exact details off the top of my head, but there was a statement made by, because somebody asked one of the head people either at Game Freak or Nintendo about why do Groudon and Kyogre look so different, and he said like a similar statement to when people found out about Black and White Kyrian and how that's kind of a different thing. So that's why people are kind of going on about that. So in a way, I almost see that it would be dumb almost if they didn't capitalize on Mega Evolutions and make the central Pokemon of this generation, have them be able to Mega Evolve.
Yeah. I don't know. Man, it just really kind of depends on how you see it. Just because it's a remake and it may bring in older Pokemon that fans that may not like the Mega Evolutions. I mean, a lot of people like them, but I mean, it's just one thing that I felt like they had no, like the guy said it's reasonable to believe that there would be Mega Evolutions. I don't think it's reasonable at all. I think it's
obvious.
It's just a hunch. Honestly, to me, there's no like reasonable, belief there. It's just speculation. But at least with going with Pokemon, I hope they keep the same essence of the Pokemon in Generation 3. And I think where X and Y is where, at least all of us, you can go and you can collect Pokemon from every single generation, 1 through 6. You can get pretty much almost any Pokemon that you want. And some people have like all of them. So I don't see the purpose for the remakes really crowding this game with Generation 4, 5, and 6 Pokemon. I think they should stay true to the original Ruby and Sapphire and just keep the Pokemon of that era in the games. Because
definitely.
if you need anything from a newer generation, they should become available after you beat the Elite Four, or you can trade them over for X and Y, where you can get everything. There's that availability.
That's how they've done it every other remake so far. So,
It's been so long. Like this generation has been the longest since I played it. Was there Generation 1 or 2 Pokemon in Ruby and Sapphire?
There was. It was like
There
Pidgey.
was.
I mean, there was always like Pidgey and
Yeah.
Pokemon like
Because
that.
I don't really remember. It's been seriously like 10 years since I played them. So.
Yeah,
was
but I mean, just really stay true to the essence of the Pokemon and everything. Because I mean, like I said, with like Pokebank and everything, you can just get all of your other Pokemon from there. The second thing that I would be looking for in this game kind of relates to the gameplay and story and everything. And on the point of like things being the same with the games, the Pokemon and everything, I would like the story to be roughly similar, because in the video that they released is like an epic new adventure or something along the lines of that. And I hope that they don't change it too much. I mean, I expect minor tweaks and everything, and I don't want some like Ruby and Sapphire but X amount of years in the future or something like that, like they did with Black and White and then Black to White 2. That was fine. I never seem to like that in game, like so many years in the future. Just go back and play the game again and everything. But minor additions are kind of expected. Like, I know I've seen like things where Nintendo and stuff will say like, they've talked about like character development and character depth and like things like that, where you never had that with earlier games. Like definitely not in Generation 1 games, but then you go to like X and Y, and there's more of that character depth and getting to know characters and them having personalities and everything, things like that. I would like to expand on that more. One thing that I'm definitely looking for is I think they have a lot of room to work in terms of like to make the games better. Generation 3, they're my favorite Pokemon games, but I can't deny these games have a lot of room to be potentially better, not just visuals and everything, but with content and more to the games, little minor things that they can do. I'm looking for that. I'm looking for them to improve in a lot of little ways that will make the game better. Because I just kind of feel like, I hope they keep it like how Soul Silver and Heart Gold were like great remakes. But, they seem to add more, but they still, retain, like I said, the essence of the earlier games. I'm just kind of thinking if these games aren't, like, story-wise, if they aren't better, if they're still good, but they aren't better than the originals, which really they have no reason to not be better, it's kind of a disappointment to me. And the biggest thing about gameplay and story is I want like a full game. After experiencing X and Y with the holes in that game and the quickness of it and the easiness of that game, I want like a full game, not kind of like a sample of a game like X and Y. I felt was like stuff to do, like I know Tyler has talked about before, but like contests, possibly the return of the game corner, like they brought back in the Generation 2 remakes, but actually like slot machines and stuff this time. I didn't like that card game.
Yeah, that card game was
Or
bullshit.
the Battle Frontier from Emerald.
Yeah.
If you
That
remember
was in Soul Silver as well.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Bring that back.
I definitely a lot of post-game stuff. Like, my biggest complaint about X and Y is you beat the game, and the only thing to do is collect all of your shit, collect all the Pokemon you want, Mega Stones, and only just fight the Elite Four. I think that should
the
be.
battle maze on the battle mansion.
That's
Yeah.
Zygarde, but that's the only legendary.
yeah.
Me too.
I
Me
mean,
too.
Me too.
that's still
Birds.
along lines of collecting Pokemon. I feel like in these games, you go back and collect
Well, there was the
Pokemon you
Looker
want.
Agency, but
Yeah.
that was quick.
Yeah. But be able to rebattle trainers, or the best thing about the remakes of Generation 2 is rebattling gym leaders.
Oh yeah.
And just more content.
Yeah.
where I still feel like the story content, I don't know if you could actually call it a story, but more like the main mission of the game, going through and beating everyone and dealing with the Team Magma and Team Aqua. I feel like that had a lot of length to it, and it was very satisfying. But I still want like post game stuff that you can do, such as maybe expanding on it. And this will be kind of a good transition to my last thing that I'm looking for is the visuals. But maybe make some additions to the underwater like diving thing. So like after the game, you can explore it more. Or you would want to explore it more. And I think they should also along with like game stuff, they should like definitely make a return of customization, like clothes and hair, etc. But expand on that a little bit, because I would like to add facial hair, have like more than like just a few hairstyles and everything, and maybe like make wearing a hat an option, because that would be kind of cool. Like sometimes I just didn't like any of the hats or whatever. But probably the biggest thing, and it would be kind of a good transition into visuals, is make use of the 3D. I didn't see a lot of use of the 3D in X and Y. I haven't seen a lot of use for it in many of the 3DS games that I've played. But in some games, it's a nice bonus, but in X and Y, I just felt like there was never any reason to use it.
Yeah.
But make it
worth it.
Kind of like, you could use it or you couldn't use it. For the people that don't like to use it, don't make it take away too much from the game. But for people that are looking like me for a reason to use it, definitely make a scene, pretty cool in the game that you put on the 3D. It's like, oh, but you don't have the 3D. It's, it's still pretty cool for those people that don't like to use it. But at least for the people that are looking for the 3D to, be of use and be cool in the game, definitely make some, like, cool scenes in the game. I remember like encountering Groudon or Kyogre. It's raining a lot, or it's it's very sunny out, or you go through the desert and the sand blowing and the sandstorms and everything. That could be something that would be kind of neat for 3D. In terms of visuals, I'm kind of keeping my feet on the ground in terms of like increased visuals, like the graphics of the game, how it compares to X and Y. I think it's going to look just like X and Y, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I know I've seen some people out there saying like, oh, I want it to look better than X and Y, but I mean, I don't want them to put in the time of making it look better than the X and Y in any, a ton of ways. Yeah, I'm fine with the way it looks now. I don't want them to waste time on that. So I'm really keeping my feet on the ground for that. And I definitely want them to retain a lot of the landmarks in the game, such as, like I said, the desert or the volcano where you battle Team Magma or Aqua, or underwater. I would kind of want them to expand on that a little bit. But overall, I also read somewhere, because in that one article that I read, it said like, oh, well, it's an epic new adventure or something like that with a brand new world. What am I going to say now? The CEO of Nintendo and Nintendo of America and the president of Nintendo, only that guy, just basically said there's no like new, it's not like a new game, it's strictly a remake, which is one thing that made me very happy about it. That's going to be more of a remake than, it's like a brand new game that's just kind of based off of Hoenn and everything. But mainly I'm looking for the feeling of the game to return, and not how do I say it? I want change in the game. I want it to be updated, but nothing that exactly ruins the game for me. I don't think many things will ruin it, but I hope they keep the Mega Evolutions, they keep them to a maximum. Like, just like they did in X and Y, like maybe a few from each generation, ones that kind of deserve them. But I'm not looking forward, this is like kind of off topic, but like for a day where Pokemon is every Pokemon, all, in the future one day, maybe 800 or 900 or 1,000 Pokemon, and then duplicates of some of them with Mega Evolutions. I'm not looking for that. I hope they don't go overboard with that. But a few Mega Evolutions would be in good taste, I think. But mainly it's just the Pokemon that they do give Mega Evolutions to. Like, Groudon and Kyogre, it's kind of how I feel about it, about Legendaries. Mewtwo getting 2 Mega Evolutions, and this is kind of off topic, was fine with me. But I think overall for Legendaries, I've gone my whole life watching the movies, the television show, playing the games, believing that Legendaries were the most powerful of the Pokemon, and then somehow in the future, you know, they have Mega Evolutions and suddenly they become more powerful. I don't want it to be some like further evolution thing. I hope Groudon and Kyogre don't get Mega Evolutions, just because I feel like that would take away a little bit, just a little bit, from how the games felt before when I played them. And I'm really just looking for the old feeling, but updated. And I'm open to change with this game, some changes, just as long as it retains the essence of the game. And I'm definitely looking for like better looking, you know, places like I forget the name of the town, but the Tree Town, and you know, like I said, underwater, the desert. Maybe making a return of making your tree forts and everything like that, and that would be pretty cool. Like, yeah. So mainly, I guess, all in all, summing up, just retain the essence of the game. I'm open to some change, but nothing that's too like unreasonably drastic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, as someone who has not played Generation 3, you know, but has played a remake. I played Soul Silver, which is a remake of Gen 2, and they kept pretty much the essence of Gen 2 and what those games are all about, with some tweaks with like the running shoes and all that, and they threw some later gen stuff in. So I'm kind of expecting that to happen. One thing,
like roller skates and stuff.
Like roller skates, yeah. I really don't give a shit about the roller skates.
Yeah.
I
hope they make those like a wearable item where you can take them off and stuff.
Yes.
And put them on.
But graphically, I mean, I am expecting it to look at least as good as X and Y does, because it is a remake. It is on a new generation. Soul Silver looks better. I mean, it's not what X and Y look like with the same terms of visuals.
But it's definitely better.
But it's definitely better looking than the original Soul Silver did, or original Silver and Gold did. I don't think it would be a good idea to give Groudon and Kyogre Mega Evolutions, mainly because, as of this point, as far as I know, there is, with the exception of Mewtwo, there is not a legendary Pokemon that has a Mega Evolution. Midget Evolution, yeah.
They get smaller. They get smaller and less powerful.
Like a Babality. Yeah. Maybe keep the experience share. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I really think that would be a good idea to keep in, mainly because playing X and Y and then going back and playing my Soul Silver, it is such a fucking pain in the ass to level Pokemon up in Soul Silver after having played X and Y, or having played Y, because of the shared experience. And it lets me use more Pokemon. It really does. I'm kind of constantly switching Pokemon in and out and letting them evolve and doing things like that, and actually using more Pokemon than I'm used to in previous games. So I think that's a great idea to keep. Wonder Trade is amazing when you actually are getting good shit and not fucking Bidoof. Or Furfro or anything fucking useless. But that should definitely be something to keep in the game. But I would say maybe restrict the game to the stuff that was in these Gen 3 games to begin with. Don't bring in any Gen 4, 5, or 6 Pokemon. Keep it to, Gen 3 and previous, if you're going to bring in any additional ones to it. With the 3D graphics, I would like to see more of that. Maybe make it like a Link Between Worlds was, where you can play the game without the 3D on, and it looks great and beautiful, but you turn the 3D on and it just adds a whole new level of depth to everything. Not just in battles or in certain areas, but in the overworld itself. You can still use the 3D. So that would be something I would like to see. Mega Evolutions, because they weren't in these games to begin with, I'm here. I couldn't care less. If they keep them in, great. If they don't, that's fine with me as well. Yeah, that's really it.
For me, I mean, both Sam and Luke hit a lot of it. You know, of course, I think they have to have the 3D graphics. To me, they have to have the Mega Evolutions. It's kind of that introducing Mega Evolutions completely changes how Pokemon is played, because now it's like, oh, do I want to give this Pokemon, you know, this item, or do I want to have the Mega Evolve? And it's kind of like a little bit more of a balance. So,
I mean, I feel like they it's not like do they want to or they don't want to. It's kind of like they have to just because of the compatibility and everything. It's like they're stuck with it now.
So
basically,
it's one of those things.
The addition would be.
It's kind of like when they introduced breeding in Gen 2. Even if they're like, this is kind of, they have to keep it. And honestly, I kind of just a little bit disagree with you guys. I think that maybe just because of the fact, and it's probably, this would be the only reason why they do it, just because of the fact that these guys are the mascots, that Groudon and Kyogre are the mascots of these games. Maybe of even more so than Mewtwo would, of any legendary that would deserve a Mega Evolution, it would be these two, because they're the mascots of the games in a way. And even then, I would be just content with maybe for like, just for the Groudon and Kyogre you encounter in these games, that maybe they get a different coloration, because maybe they're special because you encounter them in these games.
I wouldn't be against it, but kind of like Luke said, I mean, if they're not in there, I mean, I'm not going to be against it.
I'm not going to be sad if there's not.
If they are, it could be cool.
Yeah.
I think that they should continue kind of what Heart Gold and Soul Silver did with the post game. I mean, and even Fire Red and Leaf Green, if you beat the game, you unlocked an extra island where you could find a lot of Gen 2 and Gen 3 Pokemon.
Yeah, I did forget to mention that.
I think Heart Gold and Soul Silver, I think if you beat the game, the same kind of thing, you encounter Gen 3 and Gen 4 Pokemon, but you can go back to the Kanto region. I feel like it'd be cool, even though they didn't do it in Gen 3, it would be cool if you could
go back to a previous
to Johto and maybe Kanto and go through
all
that. I mean, it'd be a nice, cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And then also, I mean, then they could be like, hey, we don't have to remake the first game.
It'll be more content, and that's really
that
what
would be
I want.
too much of a game, though. I think I don't think
it'd be too long.
Like the
it'd be too long. I mean, that could just be extra.
But
stuff.
here's the thing: like, think of how many hours we've already put into these, to like even this current generation.
Yeah,
and like, would there be a difference if we'd gone through and gone to previous regions?
But someone that just wants to play through the game and doesn't care about collecting Pokemon and getting the perfect stats.
Well, you don't have to. It's kind of like you don't have to go back to
jerking
Kanto.
off with all that. They just want to play through the game.
I'd like to at least see one previous region.
I mean, that's
maybe
possible,
go back to Johto.
But I feel like that, like by now, the leveling and everything, that wouldn't exactly work out, because by the time you get like, you know, say you go back to Johto, you'd be like not even halfway through, and like all your Pokemon are level 100s.
Okay, I see what you mean.
And plus, that's not
maybe
smart financially for them, honestly.
Yeah.
Because if they remade the past games, they could sell even more games.
I mean, maybe just one previous.
But then at the very least, like what Sam said, I would say you should be able to go through the gym leaders again, just at a higher level. And
like actually have more people to face. And stuff.
Yeah, this would be, and this is a little thing with me. Maybe like just be able to hop out of the Elite Four whenever you want. Like you beat one guy in the Elite Four, you can leave. Yeah, but you have to restart again. I mean, I'd be okay with that. It's like you can leave the Elite Four whenever you want. It's just that you have to restart. But then definitely continue with what they've done with the past remakes. Is definitely where like you can go through, like, you know, you play Fire Red, Leaf Green, you can catch, if you play through the game enough times, you can catch all of the in-game Gen 2 legendaries in Fire Red, Leaf Green. And same thing with Heart Gold and Soul Silver. You can catch, you know, the red, or at least one of the Reggies, and, you know, all the legendaries. Just go back and maybe be like, here, you can catch Dialga and Palkia and, you know, the other ones. You can find them through, like, an extra event.
Like, for the first time ever, make Deoxys, like, not an event Pokemon, so people like me could be happy.
It's not gonna happen.
It would be cool, but they won't.
Or even...
I'll never get Deoxys.
Or even, and this would absolutely blow my mind, is multiple save slots. So you don't have to start the whole
But
fucking thing
that would-
over.
That would change. See that would change Pokemon.
Plus,
Or at
it's
least give you,
stupid
like-
for them financially too,
Yeah.
because then you won't buy the other game.
Like me,
Right.
I bought my 3 games of 6th generation. If I could just start it over, I wouldn't.
Oh, it's because you were.
Well, no, it's smart financially,
Yeah, exactly.
and so that's basically it.
I feel like they wouldn't do that just because
I'd say-
Nintendo's in such a fucking
And,
hole.
and then the last thing I'm gonna add is add some Mega Evolution, some new, maybe Gen 3 specific, but don't make. I'd say at the most add 5 new Gen 3 Mega Evolutions. At the most,
Yeah,
add like 5.
Don't do them out the butt.
Yeah.
Because that's just,
That would just ruin.
Like, yeah, I'm not looking forward to the day, like, if they do, like, a Mega Evolution of, like, every Pokemon, where I know they want, like, every, but, like, the first evolution of a series, like, just one day where there's, like, too many evolutions. But I don't know, that's in the future. But, yeah, like Keith said, just for now, I mean, don't make too many.
They're already pushing it with the amount of Pokemon they have in the fucking game anyway.
Mega Latios.
They're over fucking 600.
That might be where Mega and the Who
Because they're already in
go.
the game files apparently for X and
Yeah.
Y, so boom, that's probably where they're gonna put them.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Fuck you, man. I should have thought of that.
To sum my thoughts up quick, because these guys pretty much said everything. Make it a tried and true remake, of course. Have 3D graphics, kind of have to. Mega Evolutions, why the fuck not? But the thing I'm looking at most is that the advancements that X and Y made have to be in there, such as the pace of the game has to be in there. I just feel that they could really speed the game up and still make it challenging, though. And that would be incredible because, I'm playing Black 2 and I literally grinded for an hour and a half. And it was just so boring. And, I'm playing Soul Silver and I'm just like,
You're grinding for
Oh
3
my
hours
God.
or 4 hours.
it's just kind of, it's a slow game. And that's the best thing about X and Y. It was so much faster. And that just has to be in there. And if it's not in there, well, then they're just fucking blown, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, still make it challenging, but if it's just fast and easy, I mean, that takes away from the game. But make it so that it's fast-paced, but it still takes a while.
Too easy.
I think the fast pace he's talking about is like the leveling. Is like
Just-
getting your Pokemon stronger.
the leveling, just to flat out the text, the battles went faster. Everything was faster.
Or
It was wonderful.
The ability to skip the text and not wait for that fucking musical. Like, anytime you get an egg or you get an item, you have to wait. It's like, no, I don't want to wait. Just let me skip through this.
I am of one that I love the roller skates and I use them all the time. So bring them back. Also, they would be stupid to not put the online features of X and Y into this game.
They can't. They can't not.
Yeah.
I mean, Wonder Trading has to be in there. If you ask me, if I was personally in charge, I would axe the GTS just because I feel it takes away so much from what makes Pokemon great, and that's catching it yourself. So I don't give a fuck about the GTS. But everything else, Wonder Trading, just how you can battle anybody or whatever, how you can just simply connect to the internet, and all of a sudden you're connected to the entire fucking world. I mean, you're trading with people from Japan and France and Germany and halfway across the fucking United States. I mean, that's pretty cool. So they have to keep them in there. I don't really know what else to say to these guys didn't say.
Yeah,
I don't want to make this video 40 minutes long.
because it's already like 35. So, but yeah, as you can tell, we're really, really excited about this.
So, really quick. Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, or both? Sam.
I don't really think it
What-
makes a difference.
Well, which one are you going to pick up day one?
Both of them, probably.
Lucas?
If I can afford it, I'll probably pick up both of them, but I'll probably go with Sapphire.
Are you going to buy them
If I
after you
get
pick
one.
them up?
I'll probably
Yeah.
get both. I'll get both eventually, definitely, but I'll probably pick up a Ruby first. Omega Ruby.
Where's Sapphire first?
It really depends if they want to go back into, like certain Pokemon in a certain game, like, what do they call it?
Exclusives.
Exclusives, yeah. Like, if they do that on the side of, like, the
Bitches.
red and blue guy. I know the names. But, like, yeah. Like,
Kyogre,
depends what
Galar.
kind of Pokemon, if they want to do that. Because they did do that a lot before, like, older games. Not too much anymore, just, like, a few of them. But,
Yeah,
buddy.
What's the biggest thing? Or never mind. I guess this is over. I guess.
Yeah.
What
I
was
was
you
gonna
gonna
say like, what's the biggest thing that you're looking for in this game?
A
Like the
remake.
thing that
A
could,
remake?
A remake.
no, like the biggest like individual thing that you hope that they do or
The
they don't
pace.
do.
The pace.
I would agree with the pace.
pace.
I would just say Pokemon because I don't want like a bunch of the new Pokemon. I'd rather like play the remake
There's not that
as
many
like
of
the
them
old
anymore,
game.
so.
What?
There's not that many of the new. Many
Well,
new
there's
Pokemon.
Generation 4, there's Generation 5, there's Generation 6.
But like
There's
I
just
said,
too
do that.
crowded.
Like have like an island that you can visit afterwards. You can
But
catch
like,
all
you
the
can't put
Pokemon.
like all of like 3 generations on an island. I think that's mostly
Just put
just like
some. But yeah.
I think like or just not put any of them and like do it with Pokebank or trading because that's what most people do.
I
They
wouldn't
want,
even
like,
do
other
that.
Pokemon.
Yeah, you have to at that point. But yeah, this video's long, so bye.